How you doing, folks? This is Bill from Little White Dory, and the most often asked question I have about my chickens is basically, how do you keep them warm in the winter? And I always tell them, the winter isn't a problem. How to keep them cool in the summer, that can be challenging. So some of the things I do to keep my girls comfortable, I have this underneath the coop section here. I'll get closer in a second, but I just wanted to see if you can see the 5 or 6 chickens that are in there. They're the youngest ones I have. They like to bathe together. They do everything together. It's like a little clique, gang of 5. But in front of this half-inch hardware cloth is a piece of plexiglass. It makes it almost out to that first post. And that gives them a nice windbreak. And of course the sun is over my shoulder. This is sort of a southwest exposure. So they're getting the afternoon, evening sun, which is the more important. That they go to bed kind of toasty as opposed to having it heat real hot in the morning. They wake up to it fine. But they enjoy getting that last dose of warmth in the sun at the end of the day. They've eaten. Their bellies are full. They've got energy to spare. And they just decide to take a bath. Come on, girls. Nobody? They're all just kind of chilling in the sun, I guess, but they do their dust baths in here quite a bit. Now, as far as the watering and freezing, today we had our first really cold, like it was 20 degrees when we woke up, cold snap. And I have this kind of a water heating system where the hot plate, I call it, is I have it up on top of 2 cinder blocks just to get a little height so that the girls don't kick a lot of dirt into it. I have hardwood shredded wood chips in here, no dye, or supposed to be no dye, and I happen to have, fortunately, an electric source that works out well. I'm hoping you can see that. I have a duplex outlet out here that's GFI grounded, and I can keep a hot plate turned, plugged in and on. When the temperature doesn't need it, it's off. It's not using electricity. When it gets to the point where I think it's probably like around 35 degrees, it kicks on. I think it shuts off around 40. I'm making this up. But with that range, it keeps it from freezing, and I've not had a problem here with that freezing. Holds enough water for a couple of days. I also have hanging a chicken nipple bucket. For those who don't know what a chicken nipple is, it's a little trigger device that the chickens can peck at, and a drop of water will come down, and they get their sips of water that way. I have actually a food dish up here for the youngest chicks back there, so they get their starter food, and I keep it separate. So these girls are eating 2 to 3 times a day, and then having access to the adult food. In the yard where it is freezing, today it's quite cold, I have a few waterers. This one, which is really what was in there, the brooder, I just left it out here as an extra source. I have inside this chicken tractor, which is now frozen, a bucket that comes down to it's like a little cone with a self-watering system. And then, I don't know if I can see it here, behind this section here, there's another bucket like the one in the bigger coop that has the chicken nibbles on the bottom. So when it's not freezing, it's just multiple sources of water. And I usually have, there's actually another one here. This is just a little catch off of the gutter system, so they get a little rainwater there. Of course, that's frozen. And I have one of the vacuum waterers that freezes too, and I just brought it into the shower in the cottage so that it'll thaw out, and I'll save it so it doesn't get destroyed by freezing. But otherwise, they've got water, they've got their food, they've got some windbreak. They don't mind the winter. The other girls like to hang out underneath the, even though there's no leaves on it, they like to hang out underneath this lilac bush. There's a little bit of wind shelter there. It's kind of a windy day, but they're in the sun. And I think they also feel comfortable because they don't have to worry about overhead predators. So they like that spot. They'll go into the little tykes. Again, not as much sun, so for now it's not the best. I see, in fact, it's kind of funny, I see a little, let's see if I can zoom in. I see a little sparrow hanging out with the chickens just because it's a kind of sunny, cool place to hang out. Or sunny, warm place. Anyway, I hope that was in focus because I just noticed it said autofocus off. But, you know, it's so cute. It's worth actually making sure. There it is. Just hanging out by the base of the fence. And you can see the chickens are right here. So they're very close. They get along happy. Anyway, that's how we deal with chickens in the winter. I do check for eggs. I'm sure people who live further north and have this kind of weather more often check their roost boxes or nest boxes regularly. But otherwise, little ones, they're just hanging in the sun. If I go pick them up, they're toasty warm. Okay, folks. That's just an overview of how I handle the cold weather. Now, this hand is completely numb. I can't feel anything. So I'm going to go warm my hands up and come back again later and make sure everybody's got food and they're all happy. But it's chilly out. We've got these gorgeous blue skies. The sun is gorgeous. Pretty much the leaves are gone. A little bit left on that oak. A little more on this silver maple. But otherwise it's gone. Alrighty, folks, that's it from the homestead. And I'll throw in one last update. The property that I was looking to buy, I've backed out of. There was just too many little problems with it, and for the price it was just not going to be worth trying to overcome. So now we're going to Saturday to take a look at a different property. Hopefully it's going to be visible not under snow, and that I can actually get a feel for it to see if we're interested. And then up to Castleton, New York to pick up my tractor and bring that home, which unfortunately it was just supposed to go about 20 miles down the road. Now it's going to come back down to Long Island, which just means I'm going to have a tractor to play with all winter. So, okay, folks, have a good day. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope your turkey is good if you're having turkey. If your chickens are hanging out with you, don't feed them turkey. They won't like it. Alrighty, so long, bye-bye.